What if I told you one of the smartest business strategies isn't another webinar, not another certification, or even another networking event? It's getting a hobby. I know, that probably sounds counterproductive in a culture where everyone is preaching hustle, productivity, and grind mode. But hear me out. Listen, Linda, listen. Welcome to Pivot to Profit, where personal growth meets business strategy. And I'm TaVia, and I'm here today to talk to you about why hobbies, yes, hobbies, may actually be one of the most underrated business strategies. And it's not just for business, it's also for those who have careers in the professional world. So I'm talking about hobbies, helping you grow emotionally, mentally, creatively, spiritually. And honestly, hobbies help you become a more whole human being. And whole people make better leaders. So let's get into it. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, you already know I love tennis. Yes, I am channeling my inner Venus and Serena, Naomi, Coco, and everybody else. I take tennis lessons 3 times a week with my coach, and I genuinely enjoy it. But tennis is just one of my hobbies. I also take piano lessons, violin lessons, flute lessons, and one-on-one Spanish lessons 3 times a week. And yes, before y'all ask, I do sleep. Sometimes. But here's the thing people don't realize. I don't do these hobbies because I have extra time. I do have 3 kids at home. I do them because they make me better at everything else. Yep, I'm a better leader, a better entrepreneur, a better communicator, better thinker, better problem solver, and honestly, better at handling stress. A lot of people think hobbies are a distraction from success. I think hobbies are one of the reasons successful people stay sane long enough to succeed. Now, a few years ago, before all the tennis and music lessons, I started with swim lessons. Because, I didn't know how to swim. And yes, I might have been 40 years old, but that's nor here nor there. I also started taking the bar method, which is a fitness class which focuses on small movements and breathing. And then that's when I started flute lessons. Now, let me tell you what all 3 of those activities exposed about me. I was holding my breath, literally. My swim instructor would say, breathe. I'd be like, I am breathing. My bar instructor would say, don't hold your breath. Lady, I'm trying to maintain my sanity. And my flute instructor, she would say the same thing. And at first I thought, okay, that's random. But then I realized, no, it actually wasn't random. It was a pattern. I was moving through life, bracing myself all the time. And I didn't even know it. See, hobbies have a way of revealing things about you that work environments often hide. Because when you're in work mode, especially as entrepreneurs or leaders, you're focused on output, deadlines, results, and performance. But hobbies slow you down enough to expose your habits. Dun, dun, dun. Your attention, your insecurities, and of course, your impatience. And I had a whole lot of it. But not to mention, it also exposes your fear of failure and your perfectionism. Cue my Spanish teacher, because that's where she says I'm struggling the most. And if you pay attention, hobbies can actually become mirrors. For me, realizing I held my breath made me more mindful in every area of my life. I started noticing it during stressful meetings, during hard conversations, and while trying to solve big organizational problems. I realized my body was constantly preparing for an impact, and that awareness changed how I moved through life. And all that came from a hobby, not a business seminar, not a leadership conference, and I do love a good leadership conference. It was simply a hobby. And honestly, that's the first major benefit of hobbies. They reveal areas where you need to grow. You learn things about yourself in hobbies because you're a beginner again. And being a beginner is humbling. Oh my gosh, it's humbling. Especially when you're used to being the person in charge or excelling at everything you do. See, entrepreneurship or being a leader can accidentally create environments where people only see you as competent. But hobbies will humble you real quick. Tennis does not care about your resume. It really doesn't, y'all. I really be trying to tell the tennis ball how dope I am, but it doesn't care. The piano does not care how many people follow you online. My piano teacher reminds me, don't nobody care. And that violin will remind you immediately that growth requires repetition. And sometimes it's painful repetition. And I think that's healthy. Because somewhere along the journey to becoming successful, many adults stop allowing themselves to grow, to fumble, and to be learners themselves. We stop being willing to look awkward. Oh my gosh, I still struggle with that to this day. We stop trying things we're not naturally good at. And yes, it's very uncomfortable. I don't even like it. Ask all my teachers. But honestly, that's dangerous. Because businesses that stop learning die. I know that sounds so extreme, but technically it's true. People who stop learning become rigid, and rigid people struggle to pivot. And this show is called Pivot to Profit, right? Now let's talk about the second reason hobbies matter. Hobbies expand your creativity and thought process. There's actually research behind it. In the book Rest, the author talks about how the brain solves problems when we allow it to wander. That's why some of your best ideas happen in the shower, or while you're driving, or even on a walk. Your brain needs moments where it is engaged enough to relax, but not overloaded. That's where hobbies become powerful. When I'm on a tennis court focused on my forehand or my backhand, something interesting always happens. Problems I've been stuck on suddenly become clearer. A nonprofit strategy issue, a content idea, a staffing challenge, or a vision for a new project. It's like my brain unlocks because I stop forcing the solution. And this happens because creativity doesn't thrive under constant pressure. It needs oxygen. Remember to breathe. This is why so many entrepreneurs and leaders and career professionals burn out. They think productivity means being mentally on 24 hours a day, but your brain was never designed for nonstop output. Even elite athletes understand recovery is part of the performance. And entrepreneurs need recovery too. Not just the sleep one that we are familiar with, and not just mental recovery. We need creative recovery, emotional recovery. That's what hobbies provide. And different hobbies strengthen different muscles. Tennis, for example, teaches me strategy, patience, and adaptability. Because every opponent requires a different approach. That's business. That's being a leader. Music lessons teach discipline and repetition. I cannot rush mastery. You practice scales over and over before the music sounds beautiful. Yes, you do. For a long time, just to get something to sound beautiful. That's entrepreneurship as well. Spanish lessons have taught me confidence in imperfection. Because let me tell you something. Nothing will humble you faster than trying to roll your R's in front of another adult. But language learning teaches you to communicate even when you're uncomfortable. And leadership requires that exact skill. Swimming taught me trust. Flute lessons taught me breath, control, and presence. And honestly, all of these hobbies together have made me more resilient. That's the third thing hobbies do. They help you survive that messy middle. We know about the messy middle. Just in case you have not heard of the messy middle, it's a term that refers to the space between starting and succeeding. And boy, is it messy. It's where things are unclear, where growth feels super slow like a turtle, where you're putting in effort but not seeing results yet. And every entrepreneur, leader, professional experiences it. Every person leveling up experiences it. The messy middle is where most people quit, but we don't quit, because growth is exciting in the beginning and success is rewarding at the end. But that middle, the middle is frustrating. It really is, y'all. That's why hobbies matter so much. Because hobbies give your nervous system somewhere safe to land. They remind you life is bigger than your goals. I know, y'all, that's not what we're taught, but really it is. Bigger than your business and bigger than your stress. And sometimes stepping away from the thing you're building is exactly what helps you sustain building it. I think we've normalized exhaustion so much that people almost feel guilty for resting. I know I do. But rest is not laziness, and hobbies are not a waste of time. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is something unrelated to productivity. So if you're listening to this or watching this episode, and your entire identity is wrapped up in work, I want to challenge you. Go find something that has nothing to do with making money. Woo! If you're a Capricorn, I probably just killed you just now with that statement. But you'll be okay. Learn pottery. Take dance lessons. Start hiking. It's actually kind of fun. Learn an instrument. Come play the flute with me. Join a tennis class. I might be there with you. Take an art class or learn a language. Not because you need to monetize it, not because it needs to become a side hustle. I know, y'all. Just hold on. But because you deserve a life that feels expansive, and ironically, that expansion often leads to more innovation, which leads to better leadership, which also leads to stronger emotional intelligence and clearer thinking. So yes, hobbies can absolutely help you grow professionally. Not because they directly teach you business strategy, but because they teach you how to become the kind of person capable of sustaining growth. And that matters even more. So thank you for tuning in to Pivot to Profit, where personal growth meets business strategy. Until next time, maybe I'll see you on a tennis court, maybe I'll see you in a piano lesson. Well, no matter what, give yourself permission to grow outside of work too.